What's important in doing business? Profit, satisfaction, efficiency, etc. It varies from person to person, but we shouldn't forget trust and compassion for those involved, no matter what. Doing everything alone has its limits. We are supported by many people's efforts. My name is Daniel Wilson. I run a small family workshop that has been around since my grandfather's time. Do I have another primary job? I operate the workshop for existing customer orders only. We mainly produce small parts like screws and springs. These days, mass-produced generic screws are often used for cost and convenience, but the parts that I make are unique. They are handcrafted and adjusted for some very old metalworking machinery. Of course, if the machines break down, these parts become unnecessary. I plan to continue as long as there is demand, but even the sturdiest old appliances and machines last at most about 15 years. Industrial machinery has an even shorter lifespan. The machines using my special parts have been out of production for over a decade. There are a few clients left, but soon there might be no more orders. One day, President Taylor from Taylor Industries visited, a well-known local company with ties since my grandfather's era. The current president, the fourth in line, is a highly respected man, trusted by employees of his and other companies. He always considers his employees' opinions and is open to discussion, a quality I believe is universal across all professions. On that day, he brought his son Ryan. "My son has finally decided to join the business," President Taylor said, making the effort to visit our small workshop. However, Ryan just gave a brief nod in greeting. He had been working for a major corporation until recently, returning to take over the family business. I commented, "With your son who has worked at such a big company, Taylor Industries is in good hands." But Taylor shrugged and said, "I hope so. But nowadays, there is a trend to cut down on everything in the name of efficiency and reduction. I hope he learns to discern what is truly important." Ryan, looking around the workshop, said, "These old ways of thinking won't work anymore. We need to cut out the waste to survive, and this workshop, it's really old. Is your business doing all right?" Indeed, our workshop is old. That's because we mostly do manual work and only operate when there's an order. But it seemed not to his liking. He frowned upon our unused old equipment. Talking to him, it became clear he found Taylor Industries' management style outdated as well. "I'll be taking over the management. We need to cut more waste and expand the business," he declared. "I'll be in charge of future orders. I'm looking forward to working with you." His tone and manner suggested either confidence in his views or condescension towards me. I agreed to cooperate, albeit with some reservations about this different approach. As Ryan previously declared, he took over the sales. The first few went smoothly, with the usual prices. But soon he started asking for discounts. The parts we make aren't available off the shelf and require significant manual effort. While more expensive than generic parts, their quality is unmatched. Taylor Industries has been a good client, so I've kept our prices quite low. We don't prioritize profit, but further discounts would mean covering the material costs ourselves. However, Ryan didn't seem to understand, dismissing them as just screws and seeing no difference. He also started pushing for faster delivery times. As these are special orders made upon request, quick turnaround isn't always feasible. When I suggested ordering earlier, he said it wasn't possible. Despite my polite explanation, he insisted on finding another workshop that could do it faster and cheaper. Anyway, he wanted a cheaper contract price or faster delivery. "I'm only using this backwater town's workshop because my dad insists. Do you have any other clients?" he said with a smirk, making such disrespectful remarks. After troubling me for a while, he would then dramatically sigh and say, "All right, keep it the same this time, but think about it for next time." It seemed his goal wasn't really to get a discount. He probably just enjoyed seeing me in distress, feeling superior. It was thoroughly unpleasant. This became a recurring situation every time we received an order. It was mentally exhausting, and I couldn't understand why he was doing this. Taylor Industries, a client since my grandfather's time, would probably end our contract soon with Ryan as the successor. Even if they didn't, the thought of continually enduring Ryan's sarcasm and having to appease him was disheartening. During one phone call for an order, I finally told him, "We can't lower our prices or speed up delivery any further. Please consider this our contract termination." Caught off guard, he was silent for a moment before angrily shouting, "A small-town workshop getting cheeky? There are plenty of alternatives for these parts. We'll never use you again," and abruptly hung up. The machines using my special parts are nearing the end of their lifespan. It was a sour note, but this outcome was probably inevitable. I convinced myself of that. About a week later, I received a request for an on-site repair from Taylor Industries. As I suspected, I prepared and headed to their site. When I arrived, the company was in a frenzy. Employees were hurriedly carrying tools, their hands and work clothes dirtier than usual. I found a familiar longtime employee and asked about the situation. After our contract ended, they apparently tried using off-the-shelf parts as replacements. These caused leaks and loosened, affecting other parts of their old metalworking machine and halting their production line. "Glad you're here. Let me show you the machine," the employee said, leading me to it. Ryan obviously hadn't listened to me. The parts had to be specially ordered from my workshop for a reason. The circumstances should have been communicated by President Taylor. Ryan was there, shouting at the employees to fix it faster. I wondered if he felt no shame, berating those trying hard to solve the problem. The employee announced my arrival and Ryan turned, glaring at me. "What? Why are you here? I didn't call for you. What can you even do?" I replied, "I'm here for the repair you requested." "What? I don't need help from some nearly bankrupt small-town workshop," he barked. Just as he was asking about the manufacturer's repair service, I handed him my business card. Daniel Wilson, head of technical development at a major machinery manufacturer. Seeing my card, he froze in shock, then snatched it, staring at it, turning pale. Normally, I wouldn't be the one doing field repairs, but this product was an exception. I had been involved in designing and developing this particular metalworking machine. As my card stated, my main job was as an engineer at a major machinery manufacturer. Growing up in the family workshop, I naturally pursued engineering, being skilled with my hands and enjoying meticulous work. During college, I entered a design competition and won, catching the attention of the major machinery manufacturer, who then offered me a job. I entered a design contest hosted by a manufacturer, and my metalworking machine design won. The design, which included specially shaped screws and springs to prevent powder from entering the machinery, was praised. The manufacturer quickly offered to commercialize it, and with their full support, we further improved it for release. After graduating, I joined that company, focusing on developing and researching new products. Although newer products do not use my special parts, as technology has advanced, making machinery more efficient and durable, expensive machines are not easily replaced, especially in smaller businesses. My machine has been discontinued for over a decade. Manufacturers keep spare parts for a while, but they are eventually discarded. That means they had no choice but to replace the machine. Even so, for clients who could not afford to replace it and wanted to keep using it, I negotiated with my company. They agreed to let me make the parts, even without a manufacturer's warranty. Since the quantity was not large, I produced them in my family's small-town workshop instead of the company's large factory. I developed the machine, but since the manufacturer released it, I normally received parts orders through the company. However, I directly handled orders from Taylor Industries, a client since my father's time, because they were nearby. Of course, I would later submit the order forms to my company for accounting purposes. Therefore, I could not negotiate prices or delivery times on my own. It was ultimately a transaction with the company. The contracts and invoices were in the manufacturer's name, which Ryan probably did not realize. Without understanding the situation and using inappropriate replacements, this mess happened. "Please make the parts. They are just parts, right? Do it quickly." When he contacted the manufacturer, they advised replacing the machine, quoting a cost of several $100,000. "That is impossible. Just make the screws like before," he desperately implored. However, as I have said repeatedly, they are not just any parts, and it takes time. With the machine in such bad shape, it was highly likely there were other issues and repair might not be possible. Just then, President Taylor arrived, having heard the commotion. Upon understanding the situation, even the usually calm President Taylor was furious. "What have you done?" he scolded. "I have told you so many times. It is not my fault. He is the one who canceled the contract." Ryan tried to blame me, but President Taylor scolded him. "Don't blame others. You're always talking about efficiency, but you never properly read the specifications or contracts, just doing as you please. Remember, business is about connections and trust between people. Anyone who neglects that can't succeed." I was deeply moved by those words. President Taylor was as happy as my own father when I won the contest, and my idea was commercialized. Despite its high cost, he implemented it in his company and maintained it meticulously until now. The old machine lasted this long thanks to his care. I continued supporting it even after discontinuation, trying to meet his expectations. Indeed, efficiency and cost reduction are important for a company's profits, but the connections and trust built up over time are just as vital. Many people are involved and connected, so it was with a heavy heart that I said, "Mr. Taylor, I regret to inform you that with such leakage and distortion, there's a high possibility the machine can't be repaired, despite your careful handling." No, I'm the one who should apologize. It's such a shame to lose something you made. For this reason, he sadly caressed the machine, not minding the dirt, with a gentle touch that almost brought tears to my eyes. The machine must be content to have been cared for so well. I felt my efforts in developing it were fully worthwhile. After disassembling and inspecting the machine, it seemed its lifespan had ended, and it couldn't be used anymore. Taylor Industries had to significantly downsize their operations and suffered a drop in performance. They spent a considerable amount on severance and compensation for reducing staff. Ryan seemed to have sincerely reflected on this incident and was relearning management from President Taylor. As for me, I continued assessing and approving new products as the head of technical development at my regular job, but whenever special part orders came in, I worked on them with meticulous handcrafting in my family's workshop. The time for me to make these discontinued screws might not be long, as machinery has its lifespan and technology is rapidly advancing with better products. But no matter how times change, I want to continue cherishing the feelings of consideration for others and valuing what we have.